Hello, this is Chris Elan, and in this video, we're going to be going over how to set the table limits in the Roulette Cards application. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's just talk about what are table limits. So pretty much every roulette table, especially a live roulette table, is going to have a set of rules, bounds that you are mandated to follow. And those usually include the number of zeros, so whether or not it's an American roulette table, a European roulette table, or in some cases a sans roulette table, where you would have 2 zeros for an American, 1 zero for a European, and 3 zeros for a sans table. In addition to that, there's almost always a minimum bet, and so this is the smallest amount that you can possibly place either on an inside or an outside bet. This is also followed by the maximum amount of bets. So what is the maximum amount of money that you can do on an inside or an outside bet? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the app and see how we do this. When we first log in to Roulette Cards, you're always going to go to the Strategies tab, and the very first thing we're going to want to do is then move over to the Table Limits tab in the upper right-hand corner. And then if we just created an account, you're not going to have any table limits available, and you're going to see this screen basically saying you don't have any. So we're going to start off and we're going to create a new table limit, and we're going to click the New Table Limits button, and then this form will pop up, and it allows us to enter in all of our details. The first two fields are metadata, basically the name and description of our table limit. So let's go ahead and enter those. I have them pre-copied, so I can just copy and paste them. And so this particular table limit is going to be a US $15 minimum, which means 2 zeros and then a minimum of $15 bet. And in the description, you can put anything you want. I typically put in things like the casinos that provide such table and the time of day. So let me go ahead and grab that, and I'll put that in the description. All right. And then down below are the actual details, the actual numbers that we really care about. The number of zeros is going to be whether or not it is a Euro table, an American, or a sans table, so the number of zeros. This has a big effect on the odds. The minimum bet, so this is the minimum bet allowed on the inside and also on the outside bets. So you really want to get this right. It makes a huge difference as far as what gets generated. So that's going to be $15. The min chip denomination, this is mainly needed for high limit rooms. So for example, I know at Caesar's Palace, the high limit room for roulette only allows for a minimum of $25 chips. So, I mean, they may let you do a $5 chip here or there, but for the most part, the minimum chip is $25. Again, this has a big impact on what strategies get generated. All right, so what is the maximum amount of bet that we can put on high-low bets? All right, in this particular case, I just happen to know it's 5,000. And then what is the maximum bet that we can put on dozen bets? Again, I just know that this is 2,500. Okay. And then finally, what is the maximum bet that you can do on a square? 90% of the time, this is just going to be whatever the max inside bet is. It is possible, however, in some casinos, especially again inside the high limit rooms, where they'll have a progressive table, and that inside bet can change a lot. So in this particular case, I know it's 200. But it's really important that you know what these numbers are, because this has a huge impact on what strategies get generated. Because this is basically the bounds of the table, the rules that they allow. So once we've entered all that in, we can go ahead and click Save. And now we go back to this view, but notice now we actually have a table limit. And so this just kind of gives us a general summary of all of our table limits, and if we want to kind of dig in a little bit deeper and take a look at our description, we can do that. Okay. If we want to go ahead and make changes, maybe we made a mistake, we can do that as well. Or if we just don't want this table limit anymore, we don't use it, it's not needed, we can just go ahead and click delete. in which case we no longer have any more table limits. Now you can create as many table limits as you want. There is no cap. But at the very least, to generate a strategy, you need one. Okay, so thank you for listening and watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please send them to email@roulettecards.com. Thank you.